Thousands of kilometers from Europe, Japan's used car exporters are feeling the fallout of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. For Yamagen Corporation, a Tokyo-based exporter, Russia is their biggest customer. Last month, sales dropped sharply.
When the war started, orders from Russia dropped by 80 to 90%. Since the end of March, business has been recovering, and just in the past couple of weeks, we've been getting the same amount of orders as before.
The recovery of Russia's currency, the ruble, has helped restore demand. But the future is far from plain sailing. Insurance companies in Japan have stopped covering routes to Russia, and that sharply reduced transportation options.
Japanese shipping companies used to transport most of our cars, but they stopped their routes to Russia. This is our biggest problem. If the sanctions against Russia are lifted, I believe they will start those routes again. However, we don't know when that will be, and it's not something that we can count on. I believe we'll have to develop new routes, for example, via China.
Russia is a driving force in Japan's used car market. Japan exported over 1 million used cars last year, worth about $4.8 billion, and Russia was its largest market, accounting for 15%. When exports stopped, the Japanese market was flooded with vehicles, putting downward pressure on prices. For domestic buyers, the situation has provided some relief. The pandemic disrupted supply chains, exacerbating a global semiconductor shortage and cutting automotive production. That saw a surge in demand for relatively new used cars, which sent their prices surging too. New car production is still being scaled back, but exports of used cars to Russia are restarting. Analysts say it's not clear where Japan's second-hand car market is headed. The war could bring further supply chain disruptions, and Japan has pledged to fully cooperate with G7 countries on sanctions, putting its trading relationship with Russia under strain.
The number of used cars exported to Russia is more or less recovering due to the stabilization of the ruble, but other factors we do need to consider are the sanctions. We can now receive payments through small and medium-sized financial institutions. If no further restrictions are implemented and if the ruble continues to be stable, used car exports to Russia will continue.
There's cautious optimism for Japan's exports, but the road ahead is far from clear. Phoebe Amoroso, CGTN, Tokyo.